We have another masonry project on the north end, and this time we have a lot of areas where the stone actually came off. We had a lot of hairline fractures like this, and what we did was we grinded and opened them up, and now we're putting mortar inside, and this is going to allow us to get something in there. You can't just go over hairline fractures. You have to open them up and get something in there to bite and to adhere to the old integrity. Somewhere where it's nice and solid, because you can tell on this stone it's really easy to break pieces off. And so the first thing you want to do is open those up with a grinder, get some stuff inside of it, and then you can go from there. That should have been opened up a little bit more. Put something down in there. And what I use is fire clay on the sandstone. Number one, it's pretty much the same color when it dries. If you use just regular mortar mix, it won't stick as well. The fire clay causes it to be really, really sticky. We use it down in chimneys when chimneys need to be relined. A lot of times you'll use just a fire clay, or up in the throat of a chimney where it's really, really, really hard to reach. We'll stick our hands up with some rubber gloves and fill in holes, but it'll always fall out unless you use fire clay. You use the fire clay and it gives it that gooey texture that kind of just holds on and gives you the strength. So this is what it's going to look like, and if you can see this white stuff here, this is moose milk. We put adhesive bonding agents in there and it's all crystallized. And once that crystallizes, then you can go ahead and start on the next process. So here we have come to a place now where we're going to start actually taking some of the mortar, and we're just going to kind of smooth it in as needed. And if it's not going into the hairline cracks, don't worry about it right now, because there's another process that we're going to actually get into right after. Now, you're not going to want to do this if there's a lot of stuff. You could just take out the stone and relay it, but sometimes on a house that's as big as this, you may have just one or two little areas that need it, and so you want to make sure you don't get too carried away. But if it's just like one or two stones, and it's nice to know a technique that you can have that will help you to keep the authenticity of the stone without actually having to tear it out. Okay, so the main thing we're looking for here is the texture and the shape. So once we get enough on there, then we're going to just use regular water. And I like to use my big gloves for this normally, but I don't have them next to me, so we're just going to keep. Remember when I said the hairline fractures, you can just take some of the film and just slurry into the joints with water, and that'll give it another new texture. The thing about these trowels is you could still see the lines of the old original texture in the stone, and so this will actually take it back and give you a nice texture where once we stain it, it's going to be hard to even see our work. So we're going to use a lot of water on this. Sometimes I even use a sponge to give me a little bit of help, and I can just kind of keep moving. And I put a lot of sand in our mix. I use a really strong mixture of sand. The reason why is because we're working with sandstone and we want to keep a texture on it. And so all right, so we're getting there. Pretty fun stuff to do, I guess. Pretty easy. Something that anybody could do. And some people would look at this work and they would say, you know, how much would it cost to refix my stone that's crumbling? And you'd be amazed at the feedback that masons will give you people, because they're unaware of this process of what we do. And the main reason why is they don't want to have gray mortar or any kind of Bondo stuck all over their wall, and so the staining is what makes this available. So now we're back, and we're going to do some staining here. You may be asking where we got the stain. Well, do you remember when I said we were grinding out stress cracks? Well, we went ahead and collected the dust from the stone as we were doing that. And so we just put a little bit of Portland in it, and that causes it to really stick good. And so this is going to be the actual color of the stone. And
don't worry about it.
And what we have here is original sandstone color mixed with Portland. So when this dries, we will be able to add other colors to tone it down. But as you can see, this wall is pretty much one color. So it's going to be pretty much kind of a pastelish color. There's not very many different colors in here. I don't know, maybe this at one time was pressure washed, and that's why it's got this kind of cream look to it. And so I think that's what they did, was they came by and probably pressure wash this to give it this kind of creamy pastel color. And so we're just going to let that dry, and then we'll see what it looks like when we're done.